White people used to own slaves. So did black people. Y'all don't want to have that conversation. Black people.
You know what, my brother? No, let me actually scratch that. Because if you actually were my brother, you would have spoken on top of a foundation that actually made sense. Generally, when people want to argue something and they know that their argument has absolutely no basis, they are going to drag something outside of the conversation to bring in to just kind of substantiate what they are trying to put across. The first mistake you did was to bring in slavery in a conversation where people are lying about a genocide that is not happening. If you really wanted to be the mouthpiece for white people, the least you could have done was actually do a proper research backed up by stats. We have a group of white people who are saying a white person is unalived every day in South Africa. That is 365 people who are commercial farmers who are being targeted because they are white farmers. So do your math. Do your math. From 2017 up to date, South Africa has about 40,000 commercial farmers. And I want you to tell me the number of commercial farmers in South Africa this year. That's the only slam dunk you will ever need in this conversation. Now you are just huffing and puffing and you are just gurgling bubbles for nothing, because there isn't a white genocide. There is a decrease in numbers of Afrikaner people in South Africa, and the reason is because they are going to other countries. They are going to live in other countries. Number two, they are preventing. They are doing family planning when people actually inject themselves, or they use condoms, or they use the pill to ensure that they don't fall pregnant. That's reason number two for the dwindling number, the dwindling numbers of Afrikaner people in South Africa. Reason number three is the fact that there isn't a properly balanced, what do you call this? The ratio from young to old. English is not my mother tongue. You're gonna have to bear with me, but they have a huge number of old people and less children because they are not giving birth. Are you going to attribute that to violence? Are you going to blame black people, and are you going to say that the black South African administration is lying about there being no genocide in South Africa? South Africans have come out to tell you that there isn't a genocide. In 1994, when Nelson Mandela came into power, a bulk of those people went to Australia, they went to the UK, they went to the US because they thought that black people would retaliate. It wasn't because they were fearful that black people are just angry and dangerous and violent naturally. They understood that the things that they subjected black people to were probably going to be the thing that black people were going to focus on when they came into power. But none of that happened. Do you think that this whole time, when the generation that actually suffered under apartheid is like what, old age now, and most of them have died, do you think that we care to unalive people? We just want them to leave us alone. That's literally the only thing we want. And the government is trying to balance the scales, making sure that black people get the land back, the land that was stolen. And it wasn't just stolen, people were unalived by these monsters that you're advocating for. People were abused by these monsters. And we've never done anything to retaliate for that. We moved to the townships. We settled in the townships after they had decided to salt every inch of land so that black people wouldn't be self-sufficient, so that we would rely on their supermarkets so that we would rely on the 40,000 Afrikaner farmers who are still very much active in 2025. You are just spewing a whole lot of nonsense, trying to justify the worst thing that has happened to Black South Africans when they are being gaslit into admitting that they are unaliving people intentionally on the basis of their skin color. It is so disgusting to look at people like you who say the most stupid things with so much conviction. It is actually gross. As old as you are, the least you could have done was do your freaking research instead of coming into the internet and, trying so hard to be chosen and picked by white people. Do you know what the fourth reason why the numbers of Afrikaner people is dwindling in South Africa? It is because they assimilate to other cultures. They do not want to be associated with being Afrikaner anymore. So when the census comes and they have to tick a box, they don't choose Afrikaner. Maybe they choose English, maybe it's something else. I don't know what it is, but they do not choose Afrikaans anymore. And you're going to blame that on Black people as well. Stick to your own people's things. Talk about slavery. Talk about how Black people in America shouldn't complain about slavery anymore, and stay the frick away from South African politics. Stay away from our issues because you didn't even take the time to learn. You didn't even take the time to do your research. That's why your entire video is all over the place. You are talking about the genocide in South Africa, and then you are bringing in the slavery that happened in America, and you are telling us about all the laws that changed and all the people who had a good life during slavery. We don't care for that shit. We care about the fact that people are lying about what is happening in South Africa. Stay away.